guys, Brandon speaking. I just want to let you guys know that this video is going to be a, not a compilation, it's just going to be essentially a complete, raw, mostly unedited video of me going through an entire typical martial arts training session. I've been doing this routine for roughly, for the better half of like 2 to 3 years now, because it's kind of helped establish rhythm, establish flow, establish technique, and to help me get into that flow state when I'm actually in the realm of trying to strike. Basically, you're going to see everything from how I warm up to a jump rope, my jump roping sets, to how I actually go through my shadow boxing routine, and to how I go through my heavy back work. In total, this set has went about a total of 8 to 10 rounds. I may not have included all 10 rounds in this workout or in this video per se, but you are going to see basically the majority of how it goes from start to finish. Again, this is just pretty much just one of many workouts that I typically do for martial arts. Some days I might not even like do kicking work. I might just be focusing on just strictly all boxing technique for that day. Some of the days I might end up just working on my kicks, and other days I might work on like a full set of just actual full-blown kickboxing rounds, or I might just even train with a friend of mine, or I might even just train solo with a grappling dummy and work on my judo work. But mostly I kind of just go into these sessions right now with basically the end goal of basically trying to improve a certain like skill set of my fighting. And again, that just kind of depends on the theme of the day and how I'm really feeling. This workout also, just bear in mind, I was coming back from a knee injury, so there might be times where I might feel like I might not be fully like committing to certain strikes. I'm just recovering from the nagging knee injury I was suffering from the last couple of weeks. On top of that too, I did also take a step back from martial arts training a little bit and focused a lot on just basically strength training and calisthenics. So there might be times where I might be a little bit rusty. There might be times I might be a little bit, maybe a little bit slower than usual, but that's fine. You're still gonna see the full set of how I go through these workouts though. And if you have other questions, feel free to, ask me in the comments. Feel free to let me know, or critique me too. I'm all for critique. I'm also all for giving advice too. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Alright, here we are at the start of the workout, just getting ourselves nice and warmed up. Just did a series of arm circles, getting the shoulders warmed up a little bit over here, making sure we get those shoulders nice and loosened up. From then once we get done with this, we then immediately move on to a little bit of shoulder shimmy, get the shoulders nice and loosened up before those punches we're going to be throwing later on. And then we start going into our Cossacks. I love these quite a lot because they really are good for opening the hips, especially if I'm going into a kicking heavy session, which this is the case. And over here, we also are doing our leg swings too. Get those legs nice and high. Very good for just kind of building up that dynamic movement for those high kicks too as well. Next up over here, just getting our footwork in too. I started doing these quite a lot, especially even more recently, just because this helps get me into that flow of just being able to just constantly move around. I'm starting to like change up my philosophy a little bit by just always trying to constantly move around every single time. So right now we're going through our 3 rounds of jump rope, pretty much. Again, you're gonna see in a couple of these, or in a couple of moments where I actually kind of hit the jump rope a little bit, but I just keep going. The main thing I've always kind of figured of doing with jump rope is just always constantly keep moving, keep jumping. Even if you hit the rope, just keep moving. One of the things many things I took away from jump rope was it just helps with just your rhythm, coordination, your timing, and that does help a lot with just fighting especially too. So there's a second round in, we're going a little bit faster, just trying to pick up the pace a little bit. I always like doing this shuffle a little bit. It just makes it easier. It makes it easier for me to keep a consistent rhythm going on. If you are very experienced in jump rope, you can obviously do a little bit more with this. I just like doing this boxer shuffle type of rhythm because it just keeps me in the groove, keeps me in the rhythm at all times. So this is something that I like to do quite a lot. It's simple, it's easy, it's basic, it gets the job done. Then on to the third round a little bit. Just kind of starting to get a little bit tired here. Starting to like finish off this last set right here. We're trying to like, push through it though. Again, the goal is just keep moving, keep jumping, keep hitting, or keep just moving no matter what. Even if you hit the rope, just keep jumping, keep moving. That's the goal. See, I do a couple double unders over here, making sure I just keep the rhythm going, a little faster, a little more intensity too. Now we move on into the first round of our shadow boxing right now. This is actually just me working on just my footwork and head movement pretty much. Footwork, head movement, and defense. I started to prioritize doing this a lot more because this actually helps me get me ready for, even if I'm doing just a solo round or a solo workout, it helps me get prepared to always be, defensively minded. So just getting that in. Same thing going over here, just trying to work on getting the timing in, just getting the footwork down, trying to keep moving, just getting the groove in. Starting to throw strikes a little bit, but just not quite there yet. Just still keep moving. All right, now we've entered the next round of shadow boxing. This is actually where we start to kind of throw our strikes a little bit. I'm noticing too a little bit, I still need to work on just kind of fully extending a little bit more and just kind of letting the shots fly at this point. Just basically trying to always constantly get used to doing all that. Still focusing on just really still moving around, using my footwork, using my athleticism to keep things moving. Start to actually get more into like the kicks a little bit here. This entire set, I've only done just 2 rounds of the shadow boxing for this entire session here. So most of it was just me focusing, just kind of keeping on moving, trying to make sure I try to extend the strikes as much as I can too. Going into this next set right here for the next round, back to just kind of just moving around and trying to like focus on the footwork, just focus on trying to just keep moving. Again, my main priorities now are trying to actually get really good at just moving around a lot more frequently and just trying to also fully extend on my kicks and on my strikes too. So this entire set right here was basically just kind of me just going through 2 rounds of shadow boxing, at least about 2 to 3 minutes essentially. Again, still working on that on the defense and then moving on from there. Okay, so in these rounds, I actually decided to work on just my kicks a little bit. Mostly I just kind of just drilled in a lot of my side kicks, my low kicks, working on just also trying to switch feed, work on that footwork still in order to get in for the kicks. One thing I do notice though for sure is that I do have to use my hips a little bit more. I know that I gotta start like allowing my hips to like actually rotate in more so I can actually get a better like chance of getting a lot more power and speed into it. So most of the time though, you're gonna see that little detail kind of pop up though. But other than that though, that's something we're gonna work on in the future. Most definitely I'll have to work on that for the next workout though. So yeah, a lot of just low kicks, a lot of like rushing kicks, a lot of like switch kicks here and there. So yeah, that's just what we're doing for these first few rounds of that back. For these rounds, to summarize, these are just kind of focusing on just all boxing for the most part. Again, my main concern with boxing was that it's kind of similar to with the kicks a little bit. I just got to work on rotating with my hips a little more and then rotating fully through the shoulder. So yeah, just basically a lot of it's just kind of coming down to just like working on those simple body mechanics. Again, these are things I'm going to have to start working on a little bit more through my shadow boxing as I start getting back into the groove of training. But overall, my main focus for these boxing rounds is just really kind of working on my straights a little bit. You'll probably notice that, again, there'll be times where I don't rotate fully and I don't like fully commit to like rotating my hip into the strikes. Again, this is a very common mistake that I noticed I was doing over the last couple of rounds because it's just something that I know that was like definitely something that I gotta work on, especially for my hooks too. Those hooks were atrocious. But yeah, other than that though, again, it's just working on just kind of chambering through the foot, chambering through the hip, and then kind of grind back into just kind of slowing down like a lot of my technique again. I realize too that I'm not so much of a high volume like striker per se. I don't tend to like drive on high volume pressure, but most of the time I just try to like have to rely on just my movement, my timing, and my ability to just kind of like let my strikes like fly freely. So yeah, again, just kind of work on just really kind of trying to chamber and throw with a little more extension, not cutting things short. These are things we're gonna have to work on for sure in our next like session though. So yeah, that's what I've wanted to like kind of like assess over here. You can probably like see that too, especially if you guys are also like trained like fighters yourselves. But again, these are things that I kind of like start to progressively get better at over time in these rounds. But it's something that I do got to work on quite a lot though. Just working on like letting my hips rotate through, letting my foot help with that, letting my shoulder go all the way through. So yeah. And the final detail I wanted to also point out was I just need to sit a little bit more deeper into my strikes a little bit too. Whether it's both for my kicking or for my boxing, I just need to sit deeper in my strikes. So, and that also just comes from me having to remember to just use my legs, use my hips more to really get the best out of like my striking altogether, and not be afraid to like really just rotate through that. So in martial arts, it's some people call it the kinetic chain, which basically goes from the feet all the way to the hips, all the way to the core, which then goes to the shoulder, and then finally extends out for the punch or the kick. So right here we have pretty much our full cool down and stretching routine done after the gym. I like to do this pretty much right away. So when I get home, basically, just working on just butterfly stretches, did some straddles, did some middle splits work, did some deep lunges too. Everything focusing on just the hips and the ankles and the knees and the groin for the most part. Each exercise was done for about at least 20 to 30 seconds. So you guys see those clips right now. So I hope you guys enjoyed that video. Again, just basically me going through just a typical session pretty much. Again, these do change depending on what I'm doing for the given day. Sometimes I'll even just like kind of freestyle a little bit and just kind of go with the flow. I have been doing it at least long enough to kind of at least get into a certain like flow state whenever I'm like training pretty much. So if I'm feeling more boxing oriented today, I'll do that. If I'm feeling like I want to work on my kicks more, then that's probably what I'll focus on more. But like I said, this is just pretty much just one of many workouts I've done over the last couple of years. Hope you guys enjoyed that entire session. Again, just something for you guys to like look at and just take notes on, or even like give me critique on too. So hope you guys enjoyed once again, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.